fair services for 22, 23, and budget year 24. So you want to go ahead and start us off or for item 1?
Yes, I can do that. We came before you in our last quarterly meeting, which was December, and was asked to bring this back up. So we're here again. For many years, KCFR, for some background, has provided standby services and first aid to the fair. Prior to 22, the first aid portion was provided by a co-op. In June 22, KCFR came in and explaining that wasn't really an option anymore. So there was going to be an additional fee for the first aid portion. To explain a little bit more, the standby service is traditionally covered by the BOCC. Standby covers the arena shows, so that would be our rodeos, demolition derbies. The first aid station on the ground is open to our exhibitors and guests for the 10 days of the fair. They see many people, and we feel they are a necessary service to the patrons and our citizens here. From bee stings and beyond, it's an essential piece of our operation. So we would like to ask that you consider continuing to cover, well, this would be a new cover of the first aid portion. Their quote to us, which they submitted in December, was $11,256 for 2023-24 estimate.
Okay, so 23, 24, we're in the 22, 23 budget right now.
Correct.
So where are we at for this coming fair in August?
So again, they came to me for the 22 season
Right.
with a bill of $10,848 that was submitted to the BOCC and has not been paid. So there's the 22 balance that's due, and then we're looking at what 23 will be, and their estimate here was, like I said, the $11,256
Okay.
and that would be in your current budget cycle.
Okay, so fair of August of 23 is 11,000.
Correct.
Okay. Sorry, we got numbers everywhere. So I just wanted to remind everybody that in 2018, the BOCC covered 4,700. 2019 was 3,700. 2020, there wasn't a fair. 21 was 4,100. 22 was $5,352. And then we have a placeholder for 23 for $8,000. So still, we're looking at like a 200% increase in addition to what we normally cover.
That's about right.
All right. Did you work with KCFR on that $10,848
Yeah,
bill?
they did work with us quite a bit to try and either pare down hours or donate time where necessary or where they could, but they can cover all of it.
Right. Okay. So you are still expecting the BOCC to pay the $10,000 or pay a revised amount?
That is the revised amount. That is after we negotiated through.
Does that include so is that separate than the $5,000 that we normally pay?
You should have already paid the $5,000
Right.
after the fair last year.
Okay, so that's additional $10,000 on top of the $5,000.
Yes, which they came to us in June about.
Right, correct. Yeah, I was very, very late. Bruce, I think you're probably behind the 8 ball a little bit because we've discussed this in public before. So do you have questions? How can we catch you up?
Well, I guess, the county pays for some of these things, but does the county ever get reimbursed if you make the money back on your events?
So the reason this got started was some time ago, I'm going to say 15 or 16, we came in and State Attorney General gave us an opinion that said by way of 22-206 and 22-209, it was the county's responsibility. So we have not paid it, and you guys have assumed that responsibility.
By statute, it's pretty clear, when we read it back, we approached commissioners, and that was the opinion we got, was that they would pay for fire. It's spelled out.
So I have it right here, and it's not spelled out.
Well,
and we have a legal opinion that says that we don't have to cover that, but we are.
What we've read in the original Board of Commissioners, when we gave it to them, at that time, it was read that it was a bill for the county to pay.
Sure. I did forward the legal opinion to both of you before the meeting today. So there's a couple different things. I feel confident that with, our legal, we're not obligated to pay it by statute. However, it's something that's traditionally been paid by the BOCC. So that's one thing. The other thing is the additional costs coming forward. And I really have heartburn about, now going from 5,000 to 15,000 a year. I mean, that's kind of excessive. So I don't know what, it's not even double, right? The fare doubled. So you would think, okay, the cost would double, but it's triple. So I need to know, where you guys are at with this.
Well, I'm of the opinion that, the county shouldn't be, latched, shackled to this kind of an expense if there's an opportunity to get reimbursed for it. I think that the county wants to help on these kinds of things. The question is, there's so many different areas. The last meeting was about, our jail being overcrowded, and everyone wants something, but in the end, we have to do what the state tells us to do. And the way I read the statute was that it said explicitly that the county must pay the expense for the protection of county property on said fairgrounds. And this isn't the protection of county property. This is to help people who get heat exhaustion, I assume, or have some sort of medical situation at the fair. And the fair is a business entity. You charge admission, you have expenses, and you make money, and hopefully you make a lot more money than what it costs you. And this is one of those costs. So, what I've noticed, and I'm not suggesting that here, but what I've noticed in my long tenure of 2 months and 2 weeks as county commissioner is that it's all about how I can shift my cost onto the county. And meanwhile, we're trying to figure out how to keep people from leaving and how to pay our bills. And, if there's an opportunity where, that cost can be paid through, your own endeavors, I think that it certainly speaks a lot to the board. Because there will be a time when you do really need something. And, you want the board to be able to step up to the plate for you. But if this is one of those situations where, well, it just means we get to have more profit in our, bank account because we got the county to pay for it. I think the next 3 weeks, we're going to have a lot of meetings with people who go, if you don't pay us, the world's going to come apart and the sky will hit us when it falls down. And so is this one of those situations?
So I understand what you're saying.
And by the way, one other thing too, where does it end? What happens if fair wants to go to a full month and then this bill is $40,000? Are we obligated to pay that? Where's that line that says, you guys shouldn't pay past
Sure.
this part?
And I think we've been extremely frugal, and we try not to ask for too much. I think less than 3% of our current budget comes from taxpayer dollars, and not a cent of it goes into the fair, unless it's fire protection at this point. So, and that comes directly from you guys. I think, and this is me speaking maybe out of turn from my board, I think moving forward, we can find a way to deal with it. But being that they asked us in June, in the middle of our budget year, we would like to ask that you could help us with that portion at least. And I might be speaking out of turn, but.
We're good.
I guess I'm still, I was under the impression the KCFR was going to knock that $10,000 down. So I don't know if it's worth another conversation because they also know that it was late in coming. And so.
And we have worked down on it a little bit. I don't know. I can go back to them and ask again, but somebody's going to want to pay those people.
Sure.
And like I said, it used to be a co-op, so they would all come together in the county and take
Right.
different shifts, and that's
Right.
not the case anymore.
Do we have the amount for the 2024 fair since we are starting that budget process?
The estimate was for 23 and
Okay.
24, basically the same amount of that $11,256.
Okay, okay,
And it was an estimate.
right. All right, so if the board were choosing to cover the last year's fair, which is actually outside of our budget cycle, everybody's budget cycle, then you could cover the 23.
I think we can manage. Jerry?
A dollar more admission.
We'll find a way.
Okay. And then looking at your, I know I have the up to the 21 financials, but I don't have the 22 financials, so that would be helpful for us going forward as well. So, I don't know, I mean, what's your thought on that?
I'm open to that. I mean, I like the board to be here for the fair if they need it during, to cover in between some period of time when you're bringing revenue in and when it drops off. But as an ongoing way to kind of, cover a cost on a recurring basis, I'm less open to that idea. So if you're good with picking up 23, I'm pretty open to picking up 22.
So,
The only thing I want to do is I want to give the fair warning about what we're going to cover and what we're not ahead of time, so we don't end up just before the event or the season. So if we don't want to give them anything going forward, then tell them on this date that happens.
yeah, through our budget process, they always know how much they're getting every year. It's just this was an additional bill that nobody expected,
Nobody.
so.
Yeah.
I think we should pay.
Okay. All right, so what I'm hearing is Board of Commissioners will pick up 22, the fair will pick up 23, and then 24 going forward, and we'll have that discussion during budget season. Okay? All right. It is an action item, so is there a motion? And I would assume it has to just come out of fund balance. Is that right, Leanna? Okay. All right. Well, if you don't mind, I'll just cover this one. I move that the Board of Commissioners cover the 22 balance of KCFR's bill, and then with the understanding the Fair Board will cover the August 23 fair additional cost for the KCFR.
Second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right. Item 2, well update. This is only a few years old, so hopefully you have good news.
It's great news.
Okay.
We are pleased to share that we've finished the drilling portion of the Dalton Well project, which is what we're calling it. The well is at 387 feet deep. It was partially funded through a grant provided by Kootenai County Aquifer Protection District. 387. Yep, a little deeper than we had anticipated, but we got it done, so. So we're really, really excited this has finally come to life. This is going to help us irrigate the RV park, and in time, it will irrigate further to the south of the facility. The next phase is to hook up that irrigation piece and, like I said, stretch to the south. So you want to share more?
We thought, Jerry Johnson, for the record, chairman of the Fair Board, we've approached, or we will formally approach the Aquifer Protection District and see if they'll help us. The bill, they gave us about $29,000. The cost of the well was about $39,000, and that's just for the drilling. That's not,
No
we'll stand the cost of the development and the pumps and electrical. But we talked to the chairman of the district, and she asked us to approach the board. And then they in turn would approach you guys and see if they could take it out of their budget, if their board approves, to
Sure.
Supplement what the original grant was for because of inflation, extra depth of the well, kind of about 10,000. And we got a really good deal and some donation of pipe and some other things to keep that cost down. But just a heads up, you may see that depending on what the Aquifer Board does.
Okay.
Anyway, just to give you that heads up that we may approach them soon and ask probably for an additional $10,000. Because that will still leave us room in our budget to finish the development.
Okay.
And just for Bruce, since this has been a 2 or 3 year process, on the RV park, it's all city water. So every gallon we use for that, we're charged for the sewer.
Sure.
And that cost, it's surprising how it adds up. So
Yeah,
even
yeah.
though we aren't putting it in the sewer, we're charged for it. That's how the city of Coeur d'Alene does that. So
Yeah.
if we can remove that cost, plus we'll service the North Arena, that we have 2 arenas there that will provide water up on that end initially as well. So that's one of the reasons we developed the well. So.
Well, it makes perfect sense. Thank you.
All right. Item 3, which is the best item on the agenda. So tell us about our August fair.
We like to save the best for last. So today marks 150 days until the North Idaho State Fair opens. We're very excited. We have one last arena show to announce, and that's our final concert. It'll announce on Monday. Some changes to that lineup really last minute, but we're really excited of how that all shaped up. So I hope I can tell you guys, but I can't tell it on the record yet. So sorry, you'll have to be surprised on Monday. We're thrilled to see all of our pre-sales have been going really strong this year, probably the strongest we've ever seen them this early in the year, which is great news for us. We're deep into the planning and working closely with our community partners to ensure that this fair is an exceptional one. The theme is Acres of Fun, and so we hope to find acres of fun all over the grounds. New this year, we have a jetpack water stunt show. Of course, Magic, Hypnotist. Max the robot is this ginormous robot that just strolls all over the grounds, and kids love him. It's very exciting and fun. Pig racing, Rock Bottom Boys are going to return. I don't know if you guys got to see them a couple years ago, but they're just quirky country. They actually do like 90s rock type music or 2000s, but they turn it into a country banjo feel. It's very funny. Local bands, dance teams, cheer teams, and more. So we're proud to be one of the most award-winning fairs in the nation, and we hope you guys all enjoy what we bring our community.
Okay. Questions?
No, I think you do a great job with your fair. So, keep up the good work.
Are you still selling the lifetime tickets?
Yes,
Golden
we're
tickets.
still doing the golden
How much are
tickets. $1,000 lifetime admission to the fair, and it goes to our capital building fund.
Thank you.
It's a good deal in this inflationary environment.
That's right.
That's right.
Yes, it is. All right. Anything else? All right. I will call for public comment. Is there anybody on the phone that needs to make public comment? All right. Hearing none. 3:19. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.